Things are changing in the Southern California real estate market, and we're here to give you that update. Hey there, Christian Walsh, Coldwell Banker Wire Associates. We are real estate brokers who specialize in helping tenants and landlords, buyers and sellers in California and beyond. And we're here with another monthly update on statistics in Southern California. And we actually have some new stuff to report this month. For a while, it was just saying the same stuff over and over. Numbers were going up. But this month, as we wrap up on October, we have some new stuff to pass along, including a slowdown in single family. So we found a slowdown in single family data. We're going to go ahead and share that with you, show exactly what we mean by that. Was it the election? Is it fatigue from buyers? Is it sellers not being able to find a place to go? We're going to discuss those different issues. We're going to cover the foreclosure numbers for LA, OC, and San Diego to show you just how far behind we are. We're going to cover multifamily numbers, and this month we have something different to share that we haven't said this entire pandemic. At the end, we're going to wrap up and tell you the things you need to be watching and tracking in the market to keep an idea on where things are headed. So if you're ready to dive in, hit that like button. First thing we're going to start off with is the median home price in 4 different Southern California counties. And now let's run through the median home price. We're going to compare 4 counties. We're going to do LA, OC, San Diego, and Riverside. And we're going back a few years here. But what matters is the increase we've seen recently. So this is the median home price. This is single family, condos, and townhomes in these respective counties. You can see the different colors. Our email newsletter subscribers are able to actually play with this data just as you see to track the number. Make sure you subscribe to our email newsletter. We send it out weekly, and for these updates, it will have a link so that you can check out the data. So starting in January 2020, you can see it was a solid market. Values were going up, then we had coronavirus. Median home price dipped and then took a sharp turn. Started going on up into June, July, August. We've continued to see an increase in the median home price, a little bit up and down, but we are currently at a peak for these 4 different counties, and you can see those numbers there. Orange County is at 770, 745 for LA, San Diego's at 660, Riverside's about 450. So those are the median home prices. They are at records. What I want you to notice as well is it looks like the increases have slowed a bit. You can see the lines are a little bit flatter. In fact, there was a dip in Orange County. So things are starting to flatten out for median home price. We're kind of scraping on a ceiling of affordability, and that is leading to the median price slowing in its increase. We may see that it turns. At this point in time, we'll go into more data in a little bit to show the statistics on the month of October. There's some interesting trends there, but we'll keep tracking this to see how things shake out for the rest of the year. So we're back. What did you think of the median home price? Do you think it's slowing down? Leave a note in the comments below, and you're going to have more comments to share after we dive into the housing data now. It is time to dive into the data, and we've got some interesting results this month. So it sometimes seems like I'm just repeating myself over and over, but we actually have something new to report this month. And that is in Orange County's numbers, we actually have a decrease. And that decrease is in pending sales and somewhat dramatic decrease in new listings as well. But the pending sales, there's the real news. And that's what we need to keep an eye on. Have we hit the peak? We saw that the median home price looks like that's come to a peak and is starting to slow down. The increases are definitely slowing down. And for Los Angeles, we have a slightly different tale, but it looks like it's slowing as well. So you can see straight up above here that we do have an increase in pending sales, and listings, new listings are pretty flat. But this is definitely a slowing trend. We're seeing big increases month over month. We're not seeing those huge increases right now, so things may be slowing. And of course, you compare it to year over year, and this is a slower time for real estate in general during the year. So the numbers still look out of whack year over year, but month over month is what matters going forward, and that's what we really need to keep an eye on, in particular every 2 weeks. This is new, the OC October Sales Trajectory Report. And last time I did one of these was back in July. And what I wanted to compare was the first half of July 2020 to the second half of July 2020, because I wanted to see what the effect on the California market was, and the SoCal market was, for the lockdown that we went back under on July 13th. And at the time, there was no effect. The first half of the month was slower than the second half. We continue to see that upward trajectory. But this is interesting. This is the first month where we are seeing the first half of the month faster than the second half of the month. And because October has 31 days, we have to do a per day average. And you'll see here that the first half of the month, with 15 days, there were about 107 new escrows per day, and that dropped to 98 in the second half of the month. And new listings was a big drop as well. So I'm going to discuss two things quickly. One is buyer fatigue. So when buyers are out there and they're competing against other buyers, and every property there's 10 or 12 offers, it gets exhausting for buyers. And my recent video I did on should you buy now has been very popular. And one of the themes in there is how some folks are waiting just because they're tired of writing multiple offers. So that could be a sign of buyer fatigue. The other thing is the new listings have dropped. So is that seller fatigue? Well, no, the sellers haven't sold yet, so they're not tired yet. They don't mind all the offers. But what that could be indicative of is the fact that there's nowhere for the sellers to go. When you have so few listings, multiple offers, it's tough for a seller to sell if they need to move into a replacement property, whether they're moving up or moving down. So that, I feel, is partly what's constraining new listings. Now, of course, the other big factor would be the election. And typically, anecdotally, feel like there's a slowdown as we get closer to the election because people want to wait and see. It looks like the evidence, looks like the numbers are pointing to that. So what will be important is to see the numbers in November, in the first 2 weeks, and then the final numbers for November. So this is very important to take a look at. We got to track every couple weeks to see where things are headed. Right now, it looks like we're headed to a slowdown. This could quickly readjust if it's based on the election and the election's over. The numbers could go back to their crazy upward trajectory. And the multifamily numbers finally have something to report. We finally have some news. And what that news is if you look straight up, you'll see we have a big increase in escrows. So month over month compared to September, we got a big increase. Listings are up as well, but that's not as important. What's important is to see the number of escrows. And not only is it up month over month, which is a sign of the increase in the number of sales, but it's definitely up year over year. So we have a record number of escrows in Orange County multifamily. And it looks like we're seeing a similar trend in LA multifamily. You can see year over year and month over month an increase in escrows. Listings are way down as well for LA, so that could lead to tight inventory. Does this make sense? Quite frankly, no. We still have quite a few tenants out there that aren't paying rent, and they don't have to pay until after January of 2021, thanks to AB 3088. And I've done other videos on that run into the nuances. But landlords only are required to receive 25% of rent, of monthly rent right now. And that 25% of monthly rent can be paid in January. So for there to be a big increase in the sale of multifamily, quite frankly, doesn't make much sense to me. There's a lot of unknowns on evictions, whether there's going to be any more stimulus for tenants, etc. So it's in the data, we're seeing it. There's a big increase in October in pending sales for multifamily. The first time I've said this since the pandemic started. We won't spend too much time diving into the foreclosure statistics. I did cover these exact same statistics in my zombie foreclosure video, but we have Orange County, Los Angeles, San Diego, and you can see that what we have is we do not have enough foreclosures. Sounds like a terrible thing to say. I'm not encouraging foreclosures, but any given market, you can see here in San Diego, going back the past few years, in the first 3 quarters, there are a certain number of foreclosures that happen. No matter how the market is, you can see the dramatic difference going back to 2009. There were far more, but our numbers are way down. We're not getting the notices of default, notices of sale, and ultimately the bank-owned homes. So we're going to have to catch up in the market. We're going to have to get back to normal foreclosure numbers, and then there will be additional foreclosures as forbearance expires, currently scheduled to expire at the end of December. As that expires, some folks unfortunately won't be able to pay and won't be able to get the loan mod and may move into foreclosure. So we will see an increase, and that we shouldn't expect until potentially halfway through 2021 at this point in time. Here's what you need to be watching in the marketplace right now to figure out where the real estate market is headed. The first important thing is unemployment. And unfortunately, Southern California has gone backwards on unemployment. Numbers have dropped, but we are back at 13.6% for the Southern California metro area. We have the second worst in the nation, just behind Las Vegas. Again, we were headed the right direction, but now it is headed the wrong direction. The next thing will be non-payment of rent by tenants, and this has continued to increase. AB 3088, we've done content on this, allows tenants to stay in place, cannot be evicted due to non-payment of rent due to COVID-19. They have to pay a minimum of 25% of a month's rent, but tenants can wait until January to do this. Those protections for tenants will expire January 31st, and we will see how that plays out in the marketplace. The other big non-payment is non-payment of mortgages. So there was actually an increase in the number of folks taking advantage of forbearance. The numbers were dropping, but they ticked up at the end of October. So this non-payment of mortgages, we'll see how this shakes out as well. The protections afforded by the CARES Act that allow forbearance for many folks across the nation is set to expire December 31st of this year. So we will see if it's extended yet again. If not, we'll start to see the folks who won't be able to make payments, and then we'll move into the foreclosure process potentially. Those are all important things to watch. So put your comments below. We want to know where you think the market is headed. Some people predicting a crash, some people predicting that we're going to be fine for several years to come. I want your opinion. I'd love for you to subscribe to our email newsletter, where we weekly dive into data that you'll find helpful. Of course, subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit that like button. We appreciate that. And of course, we appreciate you. This is Christian Walsh, Coldwell Banker Wire Associates.